afternoon. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, May 18th, 2021. This is the second hearing of the month for the City of Tempe Hearing Officer. My name is Vanessa McDonald. I am the hearing officer, and I'm going to read something into the record before I go ahead and jump into this afternoon's agenda. The City of Tempe Hearing Officer is authorized by Arizona Revised Statutes and the City of Tempe Zoning and Development Code. The hearing officer has the duty to carry out both the provisions and the intent of the Zoning and Development Code and the Tempe City Code. The hearing officer is granted the authority to conduct public hearings to decide upon the abatement of code violations occurring on properties within the City of Tempe. Code violations include, but aren't limited to, deteriorated landscaping, inoperable vehicles, deteriorated structures, storage of junk or refuse, or deteriorated swimming pools. Abatement actions are brought before the hearing officer by the city's Code Compliance Division, typically after numerous attempts at contacting the property owner to obtain voluntary compliance with the city code. The hearing officer may issue an order directing the owner, occupant, rental agent, property manager, or other responsible person to abate a code violation or authorize the city to abate the condition giving rise to that violation. The cost of the abatement is the responsibility of the owner of the property where the violation occurred and may be collected as an assessment against the property found to be in violation. On today's agenda, we have 5 items. We have a set of minutes from May 4th, 2021, and we have 4 property abatements. Agenda item number 4 has been withdrawn from code compliance staff, so we will not be considering that agenda item at this hearing. Any property owner who is aggrieved by a decision of the hearing officer may file an appeal within 14 calendar days after the hearing officer has made a decision. As such, the deadline for appealing any decision rendered today is 3 p.m. on June 1st, 2021. Abatements are heard by the Board of Adjustment, after which they may also be appealed to the Superior Court. The property owner has 14 days to either file an appeal or bring the property into code compliance. If neither of these things happen by this same date, June 1st, 2021, the property will be abated by the city. I'm joined this afternoon virtually, of course, by Shelby Meyer and Drew Yoakum of the city's Community Development Department, and they assist me with technology, and they've provided me with the report on all of the agenda items that I'm considering this afternoon. So that brings us to the first item on the agenda, the consideration of meeting minutes from May 4th, 2021. I had a chance to review those minutes when they were presented to me, and I believe that they accurately reflect what took place at that hearing. So I am going to go ahead and approve the minutes of May 4th, 2021. Agenda item number 2 is request for abatement of public nuisance items at the Quick Stop property located at 3233 South 48th Street. The applicant is the City of Tempe Code Compliance Division, and I believe represented this afternoon by Inspector Jack Schofield. Mr. Schofield, are you there?
Good afternoon, Madam Hearing Officer. Jack Schofield, Code Inspector with the City of Tempe, here today requesting a 180-day open abatement for the property at 3233 South 48th Street to address 3 different violations, one being deteriorated landscape around the property, trash and debris scattered throughout the property, and graffiti on the building. 2 notifications were mailed out to the property owner to no avail. This case has been ongoing since the beginning of February of this year. However, we have a long history with this property as we've abated it numerous times over the last few years. That's why I'm here today to request a 180-day open abatement to correct those violations.
Thank you. Yes, when I saw it on the agenda, I recognized the property owner as one of our repeat customers / offenders, however you want to look at it. Do you have any photographs of the property this afternoon?
I do, ma'am. I apologize for not saying that. I do have 4 photos of the property.
Have screen sharing ability? Oh, here we go.
So here we have the graffiti that's on the building. It's on 2 sides of the building there. This is the frontage showing the deteriorated landscape, and trash and debris is scattered around in there. It's kind of hard to see through all the weeds. This is the rear of the property with the trash and debris and deteriorated landscape as well. And this is going to be on the south side of the property with the grass and weeds growing.
And I will note for the record, all of those photographs are dated as of today, correct?
Correct, ma'am. That was this morning.
Thank you. Mr. Yoakum, do we have any members of the public wanting to speak on this agenda item?
We have not received any communication at this time.
Okay. Thank you. Well, Mr. Schofield, I agree with your assessment of the property. And as you acknowledged, we've had to abate this property numerous times before. And evidently they just, are viewing the city as, more or less a landscape service and someone in a handyman service to clean up those items that aren't in compliance. So we have no public input. I agree with your assessment. Therefore, I'm going to approve your 180-day open abatement request contained in CN 210251. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
This takes us to agenda item number 3. This is a request for abatement of public nuisance items at the Lynch property. This property is located at 5321 South Siesta Lane. The applicant is the city of Tempe. This represented this afternoon, I believe, by Inspector Julie Schofield. Ms. Schofield, are you there?
Good afternoon, Madam Hearing Officer. Julie Schofield, Code Inspector for the City of Tempe. And I am here today to request a 180-day open abatement for the property at 5321 South Siesta Lane. This case has been open since November 19th of 2020 regarding an unregistered vehicle. I have mailed several notices and also issued a citation back in January for unregistered vehicles being at the property. This property does have the history of storing unregistered vehicles there. Back in 2019, I mailed a notice for an unregistered vehicle, actually a couple of them, and issued a citation for unregistered vehicles. Back in May of 2020, I sent out another notice for unregistered vehicles, and basically what happens is the vehicles are in the driveway and they're unregistered or inoperable, and then they end up on the street. When I went by the property today, both vehicles were on the driveway, both unregistered, and then not too long ago, the owner sent in a picture showing that the vehicle was removed from the driveway. However, reviewing the temp tag that was supplied from the owner, it does expire in 3 days. It was only a 3-day use to basically take the vehicle into the shop. And so it will be expiring on 5/21/21. So that's the reason I'm still asking for the abatement due to the history and the fact that this temp tag, and I don't know if you can see the picture right now, but there's the Chevy Tahoe. That's the vehicle in question that has received the temp tag, but that does expire on the 21st.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, I was provided with some input from the property owner early and echoing what you just said, indicating that it was their belief that they were currently in compliance with the code However, as you pointed out, at a snapshot in time, today and in the next couple of days, they may be in compliance, but given the track record, they may be apt to go back out of compliance. So I want to make sure that for the public record, we did receive input. That input and photographs will be attached to the minutes from this meeting as part of the public record. Mr. Yoakum, do we have anyone from the public, the property owner, wanting to speak to this item?
The only communication we've received is the public comment that's been submitted. No other comments have been submitted, though.
Thank you. And Ms. Schofield, before I forget, are you asking for 180 days for this abatement?
Yes, ma'am, that is correct.
Okay, thank you. Well, given the fact that the propensity of this property owner to have automobiles that are unregistered, and even though they are in compliance at the moment, it is highly likely that they will go back out of compliance. I've seen the photographs that you provided. I have taken into account the public input that the property owner provided, but nevertheless, I'd like to give you the tools that you need to ensure that these unregistered, inoperable vehicles don't continue on this property. So I'm going to go ahead and approve your 180-day open abatement contained in CE 205012. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
The next item on our agenda is a request for abatement of public nuisance items at the Trujillo property. This property is located at 6737 South Kenneth Place. The applicant, again, is the City of Tempe Code Compliance, also represented again by Ms. Julie Schofield.
Madam Hearing Officer, good afternoon. I am asking for a 180-day open abatement for the property at 6737 South Kenneth Place. This case has been open since January 21st of 2021 regarding an unregistered vehicle. It's a Cadillac parked in the driveway. Several notices have been mailed, and I've also talked to the owner, the property owner, and explained what exactly needed to be done, and that was back in March. I ended up issuing a citation for the vehicle, and then spring came and the grass and weeds started growing, and a notice was mailed for the landscaping, and it looks like there has been no change, and if there is some pictures of the property. This is the front yard, just to show some of the overgrowth of grass and weeds. Next, thank you. This is the side yard. And you can see the grass growing through the cracks in the driveway. And then, oh, that's another picture of the front yard. That is a horrible picture of the plate, but it is still expired, and it's on a Cadillac. And there's to show you just exactly where it's parked. It's still unregistered, and the landscaping has not been taken care of. And so that's why I'm requesting 180-day to have the vehicle towed and take care of any overheight grass and weeds that still exist on the property.
Okay, thank you. When you spoke with the property owner, what was their intent with the car? It's kind of a classic car. I know sometimes those are difficult to find parts for, but had he indicated that they would be complying, or what was the tone of that conversation?
There was actually no indication of taking care of either issue.
Okay, good to know. Mr. Yoakum, do we have any member of the public wanting to speak on agenda item number 5?
We have received no communication from the public at this time.
Okay. Thank you. Well, given the photographs that I saw that were dated today, given the fact that the property owner hasn't indicated any willingness to resolve either the registration or the deteriorated landscape, I agree with your assessment, and I'm going to approve your request for a 180-day open abatement contained in CE 210407. Thank you.
Thank you.
The final item on our agenda this afternoon is a request for abatement of public nuisance items at the Kimmel property. This property is located at 2084 East Ellis Drive, and the applicant is the City of Tempe Code Compliance, represented again by Julie Schofield. Ms. Schofield.
Good afternoon. This property is at 2084 East Ellis Drive, and I'm here today to ask for 180-day open abatement. This property has been open since November 3rd of 2020, and basically there is a dead pine tree in the backyard of the property, dead limbs, a portion of dead vegetation in the backyard, some overheight grass and weeds in the front and side. The owner has been mailed pamphlets to help out with costs of landscaping, and there has been communication with her. A first and a final notice was mailed, and then a citation was issued for the landscaping. In April of 2021, there was a complaint made for the backyard containing junk and debris, and a notice was sent out for that. So for the abatement, I would like to include the landscaping and the junk and debris for the front and backyard. And if you'd like to see my pictures, I do have them. This is to show you the front, the property, and you can see the dead tree over the top of the house. And this picture shows you some of the dead limbs or vegetation and the dead pine tree in the backyard as well. This is just to show you that the bushes are starting to grow into the sidewalk, and there is overheight grass growing in between them. This picture is to show you the items that are being stored in the backyard, including appliances, containers. There's auto parts. There's miscellaneous items I don't know what to call, and there's a couple more pictures. And you can see the items stored on the east side of the property there, and some random miscellaneous items as well.
Thank you. And again, I'd like to make note of the fact that those are all taken as of today. Mr. Yoakum, do we have any input from a member of the public this afternoon, the property owner or other interested party?
We've received no communication at this time.
Okay. Thank you. Well, given the nature of the property, and I'm sorry, Ms. Schofield, did you say you had some dialogue with the property owner or no dialogue with them?
Yes, we've had communication with the property owner multiple times, and basically she is an elderly woman who, that's why we sent her the pamphlets to try to help out and get her some help to get things taken care of. And I believe there has been some communication with also her daughter, but I have not talked to her directly regarding this.
Okay, thank you. Well, oftentimes, I mean, abatement is a nice alternative for, our residents in the city who are elderly or otherwise unable to care for their own properties. It's a way for the property to get cleaned up, to the code compliance, definitely, and then also help beautify their own properties. So maybe that's where this property owner is at, that the easiest thing would be to allow the city to come in and abate the property. Given the fact that you've had little dialogue and that they've not really, been concerned with the abatement process moving forward. I'm going to go ahead and approve your 180-day open abatement request contained in CE 206894. Thank you.
Thank you.
I believe that concludes our agenda for this afternoon. Mr. Yoakum, do you have any announcements?
Yes, the next meeting for the hearing officer will be scheduled on June 1st at 5 p.m. That will be here on Tempe 11 as well as online via Tempe WebEx.
Great. Well, thank you. That being the only announcement we have and no further cases, I'm going to go ahead and adjourn the meeting. Have a good night, everyone.